Hey, Spooky Empire! How's everybody doing? So this is my 5th straight year going to this amazing convention, and I love all you guys. I know we're having a great time here, right? We got some Pantera fans in the house? I know, I'm really excited about this, so I think we should really give it up for Phil Anselmo back there. So you guys, let's hear that. Let's give it up for him right now. All right, everybody, welcome to the stage. Phil Anselmo from Pantera joins us at Spooky Empire right here. The man himself. All right. Phil, you'll sit on my right over here. So you guys, I know you're probably as excited as I am to have this great rock legend here. Yes? So Phil, I know inquiring minds want to know a lot of stuff, so I thought we could just kind of start from the beginning for everybody. Is that good?
Yeah.
So you know, I found a lot of your fans actually think that you come from Texas.
I don't.
But you don't. So let's put it up a little bit so you can... I heard the acoustics in here a little bit, so we're going to make sure that we can hear us.
Can you hear me?
Everybody hear us? All right. Okay, so you actually are from New Orleans, Louisiana, as we know.
I am.
So I read back that you were actually a quiet, secluded young man, although I find that a little bit hard to believe. So why don't you tell me about that?
Tell you about being quiet and secluded?
Were you quiet and secluded, Phil?
Oh, man. Did anybody else almost burn their old folks' house down when you were a kid?
I was actually going to ask you about that.
It was like Halloween time, and I was trying to set up props to scare my then little sister. She was about 8 or something like that. So I was, oh God, this is embarrassing. My folks were watching the New Orleans football Saints lose at the Superdome back then. I guess I'm talking early 80s. So I'm babysitting, I'm watching the kids, and so I grabbed a coat rack, put a Halloween mask on it, put a wig on it, and brilliantly taped it up. A sheet, like an arm, you know, like it's reaching around it. I taped the sheet to a door. It fell off because I put a candle in front of it. And the sheet fell off. Things got bad. It got real bad. And just to cut to the chase, there was a good portion of the house burned down, yes. But I did manage to put the fire out, and it was pretty much like one of the first steps out of the house for me. It was, like, it's almost time for you to split, young man. Man, I was a rebellious asshole.
So what age was that you actually were filming into that?
Probably like 13 at the oldest.
So I wouldn't call that quiet and secluded, right, everybody?
No, man. You know, so debunked. There's that.
Okay, that one's debunked. So, Phil, I want to talk to you because you grew up in New Orleans, like I said, and I know you worked on fishing boats and all of that stuff. So when did the musical bug first bite you? When did you start singing?
Since I was a little boy, man. First house I ever lived in was in the French Quarter. And the floors would shake with Janis Joplin, Jimi Hendrix, and the Beatles, and all the classic stuff. So I grew up with it. I grew up singing, and I don't know, I never wanted to do anything else.
So tell me some of your biggest musical influences when you were honing your craft there.
Well, you gotta give a giant props to the Beatles. Got to give giant props to classic rock in general, the 50s, 60s, 70s, I love it all. I do. I love all eras, man, you know. 80s pop I even like, you know. It's like stuff I never thought I'd like. But I like all kind of stuff. So influences, big props. Rob Halford, big props. David Lee Roth. Big props, Roger Murray from Agnostic Front. And from there, I guess that's where the Henry Rollins stuff comes into play, because it's like, well, but big props to Rollins, big props to Kiss, awesome dudes. And you got a Motorhead shirt on. Lemmy Kilmister was one of the most beautiful, genuine dudes you'd ever want to meet, so big props to Motorhead.
Rest his soul, yep, Lemmy. Good stuff. So, okay, so I want to talk to you about a couple other things. So you actually still live in Louisiana right now. Did you tell me you had pigs and stuff?
I do have 2 pigs.
What are their names, Phil?
Little Ope, like for Opie. He's got a song too, Little Ope. And when you do that, he comes up to you.
Do that again, Phil. I want to
Little Ope.
All right.
That's his tune, man. And then Pigus is Pigus.
I love it.
Classic Greek name, you know, he's handsome devil.
I think it's really cool that you kind of stay close to your hometown roots, you know, even through your big musical career. It's good. I think it's important to stay true to yourself, so props to you for that.
Thanks.
Knowing where you came from. So, I know we got some Pantera fans in the house, so we're going to ask a couple questions about Pantera, of course, for Phil, as you knew that was coming. So, those Pantera fans, you guys actually know Pantera has kind of started out as a glam metal band until this fine fellow joined the band, as you guys know. So, Phil, you were really young, actually, when you joined Pantera.
I was a child.
You were a mere babe in the woods,
yeah.
Right? So, were you 18 years old?
18, I do believe, yeah. I quit high school. I'd spent a year, after I quit high school, forget it. I was out of the house, I was gone.
So
I was 16 then.
It took a few years after the fire, and they let him stay, right?
18, I guess I was 18, man, no older then. So when I moved to Fort Worth, I had like 6 albums untucked under my armpit and a bag full of shorts.
6 albums and a bag full of shorts.
I don't even know what records I brought with me. Venom, I totally brought black metal with me. That's one. And some Iron Maiden, I think.
I love Iron Maiden. We'll give props to Iron Maiden. So how did the audition with Pantera come about? I know they had actually tried a few singers prior to you, and I really did kind of like 4, I think, actually. Right?
5.
5?
Yeah.
Until they found you. So how did that happen?
We played in the same club circuit. I always was the youngest guy in the band. So it was like, okay, come sing all these fucking cover songs. And that's how you break it through, that's how you do stuff. I'm like, okay. So that's kind of how the whole club thing got started. I guess at the same time, Pantera had great success before me. They were talented, man, and excellent at what they did. And everybody talked about them. And they could, honestly, they could fill up a 1,500 seat place locally in Dallas. So they were big before I was in the fucking band. So when I joined the band, it was really bizarre because they had gone through 5 replacement singers and they did lose their momentum. You see them 2 people sitting right over there? That was the audience I showed up to when I joined Pantera. It was like dismal. It was like, good God. They lost a front man. I knew it was a dynamic thing, but I came in, I gave them what they needed, man, and then I started turning them on, man, to different styles of music, different influences. So, yeah, man.
So my understanding when you joined, they actually had some stuff already recorded, but they went back in and re-recorded those songs with you singing the vocals instead.
No, what happened was they did have some stuff recorded, and I was only in the band like 2 weeks, and they were like, come here and sing this song. I'm like, Jesus Christ. So, power metal was piecemeal, man. Just early days, early snippets of sing now, just sing, as far as lyrical input or anything, I had zilch, man, 0. But that was understandable, someone needed to take over as the leader of the band. And when they lost their lead singer, it was Dimebag, hands down. So Dimebag was in control. So regaining Dimebag's, or just gaining initially Dimebag's trust was a big thing, man. And a big relief to him, you know, it's like, we got our guy, you know, and so, you know, hey, I did good. They liked it, you know.
I think everybody liked it. Yeah, I think it was good stuff. So your first album with them was Power Metal, as we know, and then you guys got signed with Atco Records. Tell me about that feeling when you got that record deal.
We were like, fuck, we're fucked, man, you know. We were like, man, this is it. It's a bum out, man. Nobody wants us. Nobody likes us. This sucks. Well, keep playing gigs. Keep playing gigs. And out of nowhere, one day, I got a knock on the apartment door, and it was Dimebag. And our spirits were so low, I was waiting for bad news. I was like, what now? He's like, well, 7-album record deal, Atco Records this month. And I'm like, what? You know, come on, man. So it was a surprise, you know, but little did we know, I think at the time, that's when the hard work just got started. So, fuck, man. You know, we toured 2 years on the Cowboys from Hell record, I think straight. Like 300 days easy. 300 shows easy is what I mean.
Right, and while we're talking about Dimebag, you know, rest his soul, as everyone knows, and my condolences to you on your loss of your bandmates.
Man, well.
So, as we all know, tragically lost Dimebag Darrell. Rest his soul, everyone give it up for Dimebag, of course. You know. On December 8, 2004, when he was performing with Damage Plan in Columbus, Ohio. So I kind of wanted to talk to you a little bit about that. I know you took that really hard, and like I said, my condolences for you. I know that later you actually recorded some music in his memory, and wanted to talk to you about working through that, and was recording the music with Down and that album, was that good therapy for you?
Huge.
To try to work through your feelings over that tremendous loss to you?
It was huge. It was huge. The third Down record was absolutely devoted to Dimebag's memory, and so that's it really makes those songs tough to go back to, because I try and write as honestly as I possibly can, and I can't say it's easy to go back to those songs. You know, it's tough. I made it, actually. I guess I made it hard on myself with that one record, man. But it was necessary. I had to do it. I don't think I'll ever really come to full grips with a fucking thing that went down with Dimebag. So, honestly, you know, I just gotta keep my head up, keep chugging, and keep moving forward, because I cannot walk backwards.
Right.
I gotta keep forward thought, progress, keep fucking hustling.
So I wanted to talk to you also now about Vinnie Paul, of course, as well. As we know, we lost Vinnie in June of 2018 to cardiac arrest, I believe it was, as well. And so, you know, now that you look back, Phil, 2 of your brothers are tragically gone, you know, but your music is immortal, and what you created together is here for all of us forever. So that's a beautiful thing. So how has that affected you, being so recent in what you're doing? Do you think you'll do another musical type therapy to try to work through those emotions on that?
That's an interesting question, actually. I was busy rehabbing my back, and I'd had a great day grinding at the downstairs, hitting the bag and shit like that. And then I got the news about Vince, and it was just deflating, man. Despite all of our differences, just know this. the bitterness was so fucking harsh because it came from a place of love. You understand me on that? We loved each other so much that when things go awry in a band, it's like tripling down on negativity, man. It's a pain I wouldn't wish on anyone. So y'all do me a favor, man. Love each other while you can. See, put all the squabbling and all the fucking fighting and all the division. I'm sick of this shit. Honestly, I'm tired of it. Be kind to each other. Everybody's cool, man. Fuck. Just chill out.
I'm so sorry, by the way, my condolences.
Hey, man, that's
to you,
another
Phil.
time. You know, with Vince, man, brilliant guy, incredible musician, amazing musician, man, insane on the drums, and always brilliant with the game plan. He had his shit together. Honestly, me, Diamond Rex were drunk. And Vince would have his shit together, and so, you know, he'd be driving, he'd be settling gigs, and we would be drunk. Oh, thank goodness for Vince, man. He held shit together, man. He did.
Thank you,
Damn,
Phil.
it's unbelievable.
Thank you for that, Phil. I
Hey,
appreciate
man, you
that.
gotta keep
I know it's
trudging.
difficult to talk about, so I appreciate you doing that.
It is what it is.
So, since we're at Spooky Empire, we of course have to talk to Phil Anselmo here about his love of horror movies. So, for those of you that don't know, I understand you have a huge movie collection.
Huge what?
Hello.
You've been reading too much.
Do you want me to pause here? Huge movie collection.
Correct.
Phil.
Really? Yes, I do.
So let's talk about that. I want to hear about that. How many movies do you have in your collection?
Several. I mean, oh my God. I think I got all the eras covered, you know. It's like I've got a copy of that, what is it, that first Frankenstein that's 15 minutes long, Thomas Edison, I do believe. I got a copy of that from, and everything sandwiched in between. Every decade is magic in its own way.
So this is the perfect place for Phil is Spooky Empire, being a huge fan of that, like us, right? So yeah, good stuff.
Oh man.
But your love for that has actually evolved into a lot of other things, because I understand that even though you're not affiliated with it any longer, you actually had a huge haunted house called House of Shock.
Yeah.
Correct? And that started in one of your friends' backyards?
It's the truth. Yeah. I founded the House of Shock with the original cats, man. And we wanted to be a blight on New Orleans, man. A satanic fucking black mark blight on the whole city, man. And we were. It worked. It was great, man. We had like local politicians trying to shut us down and shit. We're giving them a finger. It was great. It was awesome, man. That was fun times, man. Haunted house.
And for folks, those of you that don't know, this backyard haunted house actually grew into over 300 volunteers into a warehouse. And Phil and his partners in that actually use that to benefit local charities in the area.
Oh, yeah.
So give it up for Phil for that. The local children's hospital and other stuff like that. So that's awesome.
You gotta be good.
So that blight on the community actually was giving back to
Hey,
you.
man, I'm not a theist, so, you know, it didn't bug me at all.
Yeah, so let's talk about your record label. So you actually have a record label called House Core Records. You
I
formed
do, yeah.
in 2001.
Hey, man, yeah.
So tell me about how you came about with the concept for that and what inspired you to create that.
When I bought my first house in New Orleans, when I moved back home, all kind of musicians would come and stay at the house, and, you know, local people and whatnot. Everybody would be drunk at the house. And everybody would wake up and, like, as the days would get turned into weeks, all my friends would end up like borrowing my shorts, my t-shirts, and everybody was dressed like similarly. I always had like a robe and some slippers on and shit like that. And to me, it was like, this is housecore. We go downstairs in the jam room and just write anything off the top of our heads. And that's really, it was the beauty of housecore. And I think it was essential back then that we record on 4-track, you know, cassette tapes for the charm and the sound. You know, it was important shit back in the day. So that's where the housecore thing started.
I'm going to use one of your quotes about housecore records because I found it to be profound. So you guys ready? This is homemade shit, not all major release label produced monstrosities. I love that. I thought that was incredible.
It's gotta sound real and ugly, man. Today everything's auto-tuned, perfect, and plastic. Fuck off, man. Give me ugly anything.
Well, I think we're digging the homemade shit, Phil. It's good stuff. So, and on that same subject, you also have hosted the Housecore Film Festival, the Horror Film Festival, where Phil actually screens movies from your own collection, correct? And has some great metal bands, extreme metal bands playing?
That was a fun thing, man. It's tough for me to talk about. I lost one of the co-founders, man. And,
I'm so sorry.
And so we're still trying to work through that. But man, that shit was fun, man. Especially the year we had Portal come down, and then the next year we had King Diamond play. But I guess my favorite thing would be Goblin, watching Goblin score Suspiria. That was incredible.
Good stuff. You know, since we're at Spooky Empire, we have to talk about Bill and Phil. Does anybody know about Bill and Phil out here in the audience? So Bill Moseley, actually, and Phil have done some recording together. So do we have any Bill Moseley fans in the house? Yeah? Yeah? Bill's from House of a Thousand Corpses.
He's a good rock singer, man.
Yeah.
He's good. He is.
So the album's called Songs of Darkness and Despair. And Phil, I have to tell you, I watched your video today.
I'm Phil.
Phil. Did I call you Bill?
You did.
Phil, I have to tell I know you're Phil.
Right.
So I have to tell you that I watched your video today. And the video that you guys released for Dirty Eye.
Oh.
You guys have got to go to YouTube and watch that video for Dirty Eye. That is like a nod to the horror genre. I mean, it's incredible.
I think I've shot like 6 different videos in the last 6 weeks. You'd have to remind me which one.
Okay, you ready? This is the one, it has a Phil and Bill doll, and they go...
yeah. That one.
And you don't remember, but...
I don't.
Okay, so the eyes come out of the thing, and then you guys are in the convenience store, and you shoot the clerk, but every time you shoot him, his t-shirt changes to one of the bands that you... Have you seen that?
I
swear this wasn't a hallucination of mine. It does exist.
It has to be William Moseley's creation. It must be.
It's pretty incredible. So check it out, you guys, if you haven't seen it. So how did that collaboration come about with Bill?
Me and Bill, well, I met him at some horror event. He was supposed to interview me in this little twist of whatever. And we just got to talking. He was an awesome dude. And we kept in touch. And he kept bugging me. We gotta make a record. We gotta do a record. So finally, the stars aligned and Bill came down. And we started working in the studio, and then I found out the dude can sing, man. He's got an incredible range. He's got good pitch. I want to do another record with the guy.
That's what I was going to ask you, yeah.
I'm going to put him to work this time, yeah. I had to let him off easy, man. We only had 3 days last time, so.
Well, I have to tell you, for those people that don't know, you are involved. You have so many different bands.
It's crazy.
It's so hard to keep track of everything. I mean, you guys, Superjoint Ritual, Arson Anthem, Christ Inversion, Down, and we're going to talk about what you're doing now. And by the way, I know you just had back surgery.
That was
recently.
in January.
Yeah, in January, right?
Yeah.
And you're getting ready to go out on tour with Phil Anselmo and the Illegals.
I just got off tour, yeah.
Did you?
Oh, yeah.
So I want to talk about your new album, and I told you before when we were talking before So it's Choosing Mental Illness as a Virtue is the name of it. And I know that you've been through a lot of things in your life. So, and Phil actually, this last month was Suicide Awareness Month in September. So Phil, actually, I appreciate you through this album trying to bring awareness to those that suffer with mental illness and depression, because I actually lost my brother to suicide in 2007 and we did a walk in his memory last weekend. So I wanted to give you props for using your platform to bring awareness to such an important cause and help erase that stigma from people talking about that. So thank you for that.
Yeah, man, absolutely. That's all that needs to be said on that. Straight up. I just think people, we need to realize that I guess ain't a goddamn perfect one of us, and just be nice once again. I can't emphasize how easy it is and how considerate it is just to be friendly with people. Helps the day ease by instead of being all stressed out and shit like that, man. Be kind to each other, man.
Well, back when you were going through your back pain, because I know you've had that injury for a long time, as we were talking about, I know you actually almost died in like 1996, right?
Yep.
So, going back and looking back,
I did die.
You did? Was it like 5 minutes?
Yeah,
4 minutes, right? Looking back, would you have ever thought you would be sitting here on this stage today?
Oh, I couldn't even tell you. I'm the worst at stuff like that. But if I were looking at me now, looking back at that person, I'd give it 50-50 shot, man. I was in terrible shape. Oh, man. Injuries, man. When you're blighted with them, it's like you feel very, very alone, you know? And it's tough to explain to your friends and co-workers, you know? Brothers and sisters in arms. It's like, I'm injured. And if they can't feel that pain, you know, it's like, injured. You know, I can't, you know, they cannot feel what you're feeling. So it's very frustrating, man. So honestly, it makes you want to close them and lock yourself away because you don't feel like answering any questions, and you can't just be. You cannot just hang out anymore. Everything is about how bad you feel and are hurting. And I'm no fan of, let's say, I'm no fan of the medicines that they're doling out to people, because there's other ways. Right under everybody's nose, there are other ways to cope, more productive ways. Do your homework.
So how are you doing since the surgery, Phil?
I'm fucking awesome, man. I feel, goddamn, I feel the best I have felt since like 1992.
Well, I can't tell you how glad we are to hear that. So ready to rock, right? Ready to rock.
I'm good, man.
So what's in the future for you? What do we have going on for any future projects or anything that you...
I'm gonna continue on with the Illegals and have fun with those fellas, but we got something special coming. Probably this year. Like when you asked me about, you know, do I do certain things musically in tribute? Oh yeah, we got something coming. And I think later on this year or early next year, or whenever the cards fall into place, I do have a band. Speaking of, very painful to revisit, is a band called N Minor. And it's an 8-piece band that I do with a lead cello player, piano player, and 3 guitars, bass. And it's fun. It's very vibed out, very different. But lyrically, it's abysmal. You know, it's coming from a miserable place, man. But somehow, within all that misery and all these slow tempos, there is a brooding beauty that I think it ain't gonna be for everybody. Which, hey, that's the flavor of music, and that's, you know, subjective. So. But yeah, I'm gonna put that record out. So I will say this. People try to get me to explain the record. All I can say is if you have a party, if you throw a party and you want everybody out of the house like half hour later, put the N minor record on. People will stampede. It ain't no fun time record. It isn't. It's like a chore, but it's a necessary chore. I gotta do it.
I think that's great. The great thing about you as a musical artist, and you have all these different bands, is everything is so different. You have a lot of diversity in those projects.
Got to.
So you definitely are multifaceted as a musician with all these different sides of you. And is that why you do so many projects, so that you can express all those different creative?
In a pure form, like with Scour, it's obviously hardcore black metal. With each band has its own little thing. And now, yeah, you can't express, not everybody can be Queen. Queen can get away with a song like Sheer Heart Attack and come back with freaking, I don't know. Can y'all hear me? I think I'm back on, yeah. Bicycle. Yeah, so Queen, man, that's a good example of a band that can just play all over the charts. But for me, I like doing individual bands. I do. I like working with different groups. It's fun.
I think it's fantastic. I'm just wondering where you get that energy, honestly.
I don't know. It's all I know how to do, really.
Right.
It's play music. Don't ask me to put oil in the car. It ain't happening, man. It ain't fucking happening. I'll write you a song quicker.
So Phil, what do you think about taking a few questions from the audience?
Bust up,
Is
man.
there anybody that has some questions for Phil? If you guys want to line up the way you were instructed?
Look at this handsome devil.
What's up, Phil?
What's up, big brother?
Yeah, you and I go way back.
Oh, yeah.
I know this guy.
Yeah.
Hey Joe, how are
How you
you?
doing, Michelle?
Great. What's your question for Phil?
After Far Beyond Driven went #1, how'd you feel about that? And where
I
was you in
can't
any
hear you talk slower. God damn it, Joe.
Sorry, Phil. Damn it. Far Beyond Driven went #1. How did you feel about that?
I was torn, man. It's the greatest accomplishment you could possibly even fathom. But at the same time, I had pretty much just found out that I had 2 destroyed, blown out discs in my lower back. So I was miserable. And I knew when your record's that popular, that's when the work starts, man. So I had no choice. Booze it up, give me a handful of pills, and throw me on stage, man. Fuck it, It sucks, but that's the cards I got dealt. You gotta fucking keep on trucking, man. Much love to you, brother.
Okay, next question.
Hi, Phil.
Hey, man.
I just wanted to ask. And you said that Rob Halford is one of your biggest influences. Is that the reason why you sounded so much like him on Power Metal before you? And is there any reason as to why you suddenly decided to stop sounding like Halford on the Power Metal album to changing your vocal style to more gruffer on Cowboys from Hell?
Yes, to all that. I was absolutely imitating Rob Halford's style, man, big time, and I couldn't help it. He was a big influence. And then I realized, there's only one Rob Halford. So, man, I absolutely was trying to, I guess, find myself vocally, and become, slowly. You know what I'm saying? At all, brother.
Yep.
Gotcha. Does that answer the question?
Yep. And in my opinion, that was one of the birthers of what is called groove metal.
There you go. All right. Put a label on whatever you feel like, man. I'm just making music, man.
And you're doing a great job at it. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, brother.
Thanks
Much love
for
to
your
you.
question. Next question, please.
Phil,
What's up, brother?
with all the albums that you've been a part of, which was, do you believe, the most underrated one?
Arson Anthem. No, I don't know, man. But probably Arson Anthem. Because Mike's singing, you know, and I think the guitar playing's decent because, you know, I play guitar. But, yeah, man, I think it's a pure record, man. My man.
Awesome. Thanks. Next question.
Mr. Phil Anselmo.
What's going on, brother?
It's just amazing to be able to converse with you. Pantera is my favorite metal band of all time.
Thank you.
And, you know, there's no other kind of art that I've listened to or watched that's meant more to me.
I want to hear what you're saying, brother. So
There's no other band or filmmaker that's meant more to me than what you guys have done as Pantera. And I just wonder, what were you guys going through as you went from Cowboys to Vulgar to Far Beyond Driven, which is my favorite metal record of all time? Like, what was the inspiration? What was driving you guys to get to that level? Because it's so inspiring. It's not something you can bottle or really even totally define, but there was something happening there. And I just wonder what your idea of what that was that you guys were experiencing that was taking you to that place.
We wanted to, it was desperately trying to capture the live experience. We were a fucking live band. That was it, and it was a competition for us. You know, when we would play on a bill with more established bands and stuff like that, we were out to kick their fucking asses every fucking night, and we did a pretty decent job of that, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nobody wanted to play after us, man.
That's exactly right. Okay.
Exactly, and
100%.
that's what you're hearing too, man.
Yeah, it comes across loud and clear.
My man. All right. Much love to you.
I think we probably got time for one more. I'm so sorry, you guys. Next question.
Yeah, I gotta urinate like a feed.
2 questions. If you can take one
Without
album.
a face.
If you can take two questions. If you can take one album to a deserted island, what
Oh,
would it be?
Jesus Christ, we're gonna be here to 6 a.m.
Give me a good question.
Okay.
And I can't. I'm deep.
Okay,
Yell at
okay,
me. Yell
okay.
at me.
You got power metal out. And from power metal, you go from Cowboys to metal. That's a mega transition.
Not really.
What?
It's not really.
No?
No.
Okay.
Because that's a. Go listen to that power metal riff. Number one, it's difficult as fuck to play, and it's super aggressive. It is. There's a lot of tracks in like Death Trap. That's like early thrash musings. So I don't really see Cowboys from Hell material being that much more whatnot. But I will say, by the time we got around to recording Cowboys from Hell, our attitude was vulgar display of power, and that's the fucking truth. And the last song we wrote for that album was Primal Concrete Sledge, which really easily could have been on vulgar display. So there's that evolution, you know what I'm saying? All right, brother.
All right, I've told it for pretty quick. We can probably get the rest of your
All
questions
right.
in.
Hi, Phil.
You guys just speed talk or anything.
yeah,
It's
we
good.
We talked about earlier, like, what were your influences in bands that like helped you out, helped you become
Yes,
who you
sir.
were. What bands nowadays gets the Phil Anselmo seal of approval?
Oh man, like a modern day band. Well,
Yeah.
you know I love. Well, if you don't, like the death metal band from Australia, Portal. I think they are hideous. But as far as you're putting me on the spot here. God damn it. You know what? I think the kid from Ghost is doing it right. I do. Great businessman, great songwriter. He's writing songs, big props to him on that. Very talented guy, and he's also a very sweet guy too. Very nice person. He is.
All right, well, thank you for everything you do.
Oh man,
Appreciate
thank
it,
you.
man.
Bless you, man. Much love to you, brother.
I chatted with Phil briefly earlier at the booth, at your booth.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Quick question, and I hadn't planned on this question, but since you brought up the horror movies, is there a horror movie that you wish you had in your collection you just cannot find?
That's a good question.
No, I've got.
Not at all.
Yeah, I've got. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Finally, others are waiting. I know you got to go to the bathroom, so I never got to see Pantera. there's probably a bunch of people that never got a chance to see it. And sadly, only you and Rex Brounder left. I asked you earlier at your booth, but it was privately and not everybody was here to hear it. How many people would love to somehow, some way see the return of Pantera? Even if it was just with the best of the best that is still with us. Even if it's for one tour. Even if it's not for long term, you can return to your other bands. And what I'm saying is, I met Greg Lake, Emerson, Lake and Palmer. And at the time, I was too young, I didn't get a chance to see them. And I said, can't you just once, even if you hate each other, don't do it for the money. Don't do it for your ego. Do it for the fans, for the people that didn't get to see it. And because you do it once, even if it's not a lifelong return, maybe a tribute, where it's a tribute to the Abbott Brothers. You go out on a tour, you call it Pantera Limited Edition.
Here we go.
Sorry, thank you.
It's funny you bring that up. That's all I gotta say. And I will say this, if there was anyone that would want our songs to keep going and be represented correctly, it would be the Abbott Brothers. They would fucking strike me down if I did not do them some justice by, dropping a Pantera set somewhere real soon. Oh, I'm gonna lay it on you motherfuckers. I'm taking my shit back. Mark my words.
That's a great question. Thank you for that. That's a good question.
First want to say thank you. You really got me in.
Speak into that mic there, you
Yeah,
crazy
yeah,
wild
I want to say
fiend of violence.
Yeah, you got me into that. I really want to thank you. I was little and I love your song. So I really want to say that. What is your opinion on like?
Man, come talk to me. I can't fucking hear you. And I want to hear you. Let's make
sorry
this
about that.
better.
I want to say thank you for turning me on to the metal. And I really appreciate it. And I want to say, what's your opinion on modern metal and how it's changed throughout the years since you started Pantera and Superjoint and stuff like that?
It's tough for me to assess modern metal in its entirety because modern metal is from the underground on up and at every level in between. And I love the underground, and sometimes what is underground comes above ground, Look at Ghost, they're a fine example of what was once just an underground band and an underground idea. So I love things like that. So for modern music, I think black metal's doing a hell of a job. I think death metal's doing an okay job. And other forms of heavy metal, I'm not equipped to give it a real assessment because it wouldn't be fair. I would say I need to do a little homework before I give you an honest answer on that one, bro.
Thank you.
Yeah, man, absolutely.
Thanks for your question.
Above my brain.
Well, guys, I think we're about out of time, Phil. So
Thank you.
Can everyone give it up for Phil and Selma
thank you.
Pantera for joining us here at Spooky Empire? Phil, thank you so much. Incredible honor talking to you. Absolutely. Thanks, guys. Thank you
Love
so much
y'all,
for joining
man.
us.
I
Have
do. I
fun at
love y'all.
Spooky Empire. You guys rock.
Thank
Keep
you.
the music alive.
Spooky ones, all right.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day.